Hello, everyone, and welcome back to Bomber and Griffin. Oh shit! Now we're talking about Batman and Robin.
Yeah,
Oh, I thought this day might come, but maybe 5 years down the pipeline. There's the Dark Knight trilogy and the Spider-Man trilogy, and we're here talking about Batman and Robin.
I mean,
You mean?
not the worst movie out of the four.
I don't know, man. As far as Batman movies go, this is pretty bad. Uh,
I will say right off the bat that I actually enjoyed it a lot more than I enjoyed watching Three.
really,
Not, yeah, I enjoyed it more than Three
you enjoyed it for
because
the wrong
Arnold
reasons.
Schwarzenegger, every scene he was in as Mr. Freeze, absolute, I fucking loved
Did you
it.
like his like fluffy slippers? Like,
Oh, they were amazing. The scene where he's watching Snow Miser and
yeah,
he's
man.
making all his
He's
his
forcing them to
henchmen.
sing in the freezing cold. Yeah.
I was like, fuck yes.
Oh god.
Um,
Yeah. We'll get to that. We're not gonna run entirely chronological this time, but I am gonna for the start because it
yeah.
opens. The first thing you see is close-ups of
Also,
ass shots and
let's not forget the spoiler warning this time.
the spoilers for the people that care to see Batman and Robin.
You should watch this one.
No, no, you can't do that. I'll lose all my subscribers in an instant. Um,
I think this should go on a you know that book? It's called like 1001 movies to watch before you die.
ah, yeah, yeah.
This is number one.
It is. It's
Um,
right above
one of the
Titanic.
underrated masterpieces.
Yeah, for
Yeah.
sure. So yeah, the movie opens with ass shots and predominant bat nipples, and I think it kind of tells you that you're in for a good ride.
I'll give you a good ride in a minute.
What? um, the God, I lost my train of thought. What the fuck did you just say? No, no. All right, it's this movie does enough damage. All right, we don't need you to add on to the pile of damage. Uh, we then get to see the Batmobile with the disco ball in the front.
Oh yeah.
Uh, it's the only Batmobile to be one seated, like a fighter jet. There's no passenger seat. He can't rescue nobody. Robin's bleeding out. He just get some of the
Uh, His arm still works. He can just hang on to the
he
roof.
just hangs on. No, I was thinking, what are those things you use on like trailers to like tarp stuff down? Like you just strap him on.
No, I was thinking, like when you're towing a caravan or something behind a car.
Dude, the flames from the Batmobile just light that shit up. You know?
No, but like that thing on the back of cars.
Yeah, yeah, like
Yeah.
tow bar.
You
Yeah.
just like tie his cape around it.
Oh god, that is a very violent image. So, uh, I have problems with this movie start to finish,
I have a few as well.
and I'm starting like way early when as soon as Batman leaves the Batcave, um, Commissioner Gordon gets on like his little TV camera thing in the Batmobile, and he's like,
Oh yeah, they Skype
yeah,
because
he's like,
this was
hey, we have a brand new villain, Mister Freeze. But then
yeah that
Batman, he's like, Mister Freeze, as if he knows who that is, but it's his first time hearing about him. There's,
um.
there's so.
I thought what you were going to critique is how weird the Commissioner Gordon like speech about the new villain is. It's very
Oh, mate,
exposition.
there's problems everywhere, but that was my problem. Like, George Clooney's direction. I hate how, like, every Batman actor, despite how bad some of these Batman movies can be, has their own way of saying, I'm Batman, and delivering it in a serious and meaningful way, or in their own way at least. But George is all like, Hi, Freeze, I'm Batman. Just no effort. None at
Yeah.
all. I don't think I've ever seen someone phone it in quite as hard as George Clooney did with Batman in this film. There's so many things I can't even, like, when they arrive on the set to fight Mr. Freeze at the start. Robin's motorcycle, like, it flies through a wall to come down, to join Batman for the fight. And you can see it for a split second that the hole that's left in the wall behind him is the shape of, like, Robin's logo. Like, I get that that's a creative choice, but why? It makes no sense.
Yeah, that was weird. I actually did see that.
Can I just talk about the beautiful choreography and definitely no wire work in the start of the film when they're fighting Mr. Freeze.
Every time something is in the air in this film, like literally anything,
I always think to the exact scene where, like, Robin pole vaults and he flies up the ramp of ice, but, like, he's facing the wrong direction and his legs are being pulled forward first, and his cape flies beside him and his arms are out he's like T-posing. Can you remember that scene at the start?
Was somebody T-posing? No.
It was like Robin T-posing, like flying in the air after he pole vaults. It's bad. That's always the scene I think of.
There's a few.
The wire work can be pretty obvious. So we get introduced to Mr. Freeze, and I understand.
Killed the dinosaurs.
Oh God. I like. It's not even the Ice Age, but he says that anyway. Apparently, he cracks a total of 27 ice puns throughout this movie. I'm not sure how many I can recite. There's cool party.
Yeah.
Everybody chill.
It's kind of funny because I noticed a few situations where he didn't make a joke that he could have.
Oh, well, it's not all that jokes, Jackson. This is a serious movie.
I mean, all of them have had lots of jokes. The first one even had a character named after Joe.
Yeah,
because
that's true.
It was a comedy, not to be taken seriously.
Of course. On a more serious note, I think that is my biggest problem with this movie, is that it's not, like, deliberately campy. This was a genuine attempt at, like, a follow-up and, to be taken seriously by its fans.
The character drama is absolutely insufferable. I hated every second of that.
What are you talking about? It's the best part.
Fucking Robin and Batman having arguments.
I was on Robin's side for the most part, but then, he slowly becomes just as insufferable.
I wasn't really on his side at all, because Batman was right that he was just going to get himself killed.
Yeah.
Batman was right, like, the whole time.
Yeah, I suppose so.
And then when they reconcile at the end, that's just when Robin accepts that Batman was right the whole time.
Oh, well, I clearly saw that Chris O'Donnell wanted to die earlier on in the film because he knew what he was in, and Batman was like, no, you ain't leaving this movie just yet, and stopped his motorcycle. Speaking of, is that the beautiful rooftop chase sequence that you were hoping for?
Absolutely.
They're literally driving across sculptures. Oh boy. Beautiful practical effects. Definitely no 90s CGI going on there.
Not even a bit.
I tell you what, it was the first time I ever seen the movie in 4K, and man, you can really see how choppy it is when it's that sharp. Scenes that usually never stuck out before really did that time round. So, what did you think of Arnold's portrayal of Mr. Freeze?
I thought it was actually great.
Sorry, it sounded so genuine. With so much enthusiasm. I thought it was amazing. Go on,
Dude,
tell
I
me why.
loved it. I there was not a second he was on screen where I was not entertained.
I tell you what, I used to really hate it, but I was laughing a fair amount. Even with like Poison Ivy, I've got some wild oats to sow. Why not send Junior home early and shit?
Yeah,
Um,
the Poison Ivy was a character I wasn't a huge fan of.
what
But
are you
we can
talking
talk about
about,
that
bro? She's
later.
so comic accurate, which is just a porn star.
Is she?
No, it's not comic accurate at all.
Okay, I haven't read the comic.
No, I don't know how they somehow made her more of an object than what they did with Nicole Kidman in Batman Forever.
I don't know who Nicole Kidman is.
Nicole Kidman played Chase Meridian, the love
Oh.
interest that's all black rubber.
Right.
trying to get in Batman.
What's the other love interest that's all about black rubber? From the other movie.
Yeah, I see how it gets confusing. Yeah, like they somehow have gotten even more provocative. And yeah, Poison Ivy, she's just a porn star in this film. Like, come on, the choppy acting. However, youth brings stamina, and shit like that. It's like fucking Jesus Christ. I understand.
She was played by Uma Thurman, right?
Yes, she was.
Yeah, the whole time I was thinking about the scene from Pulp Fiction where she overdoses on heroin.
she just opens her mouth and you're just like, heroin overdose, heroin overdose, heroin overdose. Imagine if she just died at the start of the film.
That would have been. Oh yeah, I wanted to mention that Bane is just a total simp in this movie. The whole thing.
Yeah, he does not have much going on in this film.
He's just like fucking Poison Ivy's like.
Yeah, pretty much.
The whole thing.
Yeah.
Wait, actually, I wanted to mention a really fucking weird line.
Yes.
I don't know if you could already tell what it is, but it's something along the lines of there isn't a Poison Ivy action figure that doesn't come with Bane.
Yeah, man. Yeah. So that's the bigger discussion about this movie that I suppose we can dive into now. There's just so much. I don't think we're going to run out of things to talk about with this one. Yeah, this movie, it was about selling toys. A lot of people are...
Like, that lie was so weird.
Oh, yeah. That's why every Poison Ivy action figure comes complete with him. Yeah, a lot of people really throw the hate at...
Was that true when they merchandised this movie?
I have no idea. Knowing
didn't...
them, they would have had separate ones and ones where they were together.
That's such a missed opportunity. They should not have had a Poison Ivy action figure that doesn't come with him.
I know. It's a shame.
That would have been...
It was like they didn't want to make money.
If they did it like that.
I don't know. That might have been the case. I wasn't there in 1997. But a lot of the hate that this movie got, it was all directed towards Joel Schumacher, the man who directed the last one. Sadly, he's passed away. And he took a brunt of a lot of the hate because, bat nipples and all sorts of things. And he did make some rather stupid decisions that weren't just the studio, but the fault of this movie is the studio. I think a lot of it is the movie was really a product of its time. 1997 was, you had new metal like Limp Bizkit and Korn and everything that was a rejection of products being thrown in your face and being sold on stuff. That was a lot of the late 90s all up. I mean, Fight Club was almost the ultimate summary of those latter years of the 90s. Just the way that frat boys were and the way that, people were experiencing those years. And so everything was buy this, buy that. Here's my CD. Here's my face with a shirt on it. Buy this. And in terms of cinema and movies, this was the movie that broke the camel's back. It's not just what killed Batman for 8 years. It's what made future Marvel films rethink everything. It was the film that studios woke up and went, hang on, the audience is not as stupid as we think they are. They're getting smarter, and they're not just going to accept whatever the hell we throw out. We have to
Didn't
try.
last long.
Oh. Oh, we got a couple good decades, all right? Let's just enjoy the day. Well, they've done it right, and now it's getting to a point where it's an oversaturation and, fatigue. It was never going to just last forever. But yeah, back on Batman and Robin, this was the movie that really changed everything. And yeah, if you couldn't tell, they're trying to sell toys. Let's have Batman in like 5 different costumes. Let's have the Batmobile and Robin's bike and Batgirl have a bike, and they're all gonna have these vehicles that go on like snow and ice for like 2 minutes at the very end. And during that scene, Batgirl's gonna wear a cowl so we can sell toys of her with a cowl and then one without one because she just takes it off in like a minute. It's everywhere.
Why is it called Batman and Robin instead of Batman and Robin and Batgirl?
Well, you're gonna like this. This movie was going to be called Batman Forever. Now, you might
There
think,
was
well,
already one called Batman.
exactly, right? What do you mean? It was gonna be Batman, the number 4, and then ever.
Number.
Yeah, man.
Would the next one have been Batman 5 ever?
Yeah, it yeah, Batman 5 ever. That was, yeah, ultimately what it was going to be. But yeah, it was going to be styled Batman, the number 4 than ever, because it was the 4th film in the series. Get it? 4? Yeah. But the 3rd film already had that title, and everyone said, yeah, let's get real. Let's just change it. And it was changed to Batman and Robin. Which was at one point going to be the title for the 3rd film before it was changed to Batman Forever.
And Robin would make more sense for the 3rd film.
Yeah. That's probably the best one compared to like Batman Continues and,
Chris, I thought you meant the 3rd one is the best one.
No. I don't mind it. I really don't. But
I don't think any of them are really bad.
I don't know how we're gonna talk about this movie then, man. I'm not with this one. I don't like it for the fact that it wasn't trying to be like campy. It was trying to genuinely be, a contender and a good follow up to like '89's Batman.
But don't you love the spirit?
I think if it came out today, it wouldn't be so bad because we've got such a saturation. It would be kind of a fresh thing to throw at us, and I can see how it's kind of unique now. But back then, you only had a certain run of Batman movies. This was it, as far as anyone knew, and now it was over because this came out and just destroyed it. It became what it was trying not to be from the start, which is the campy 60s. It was so shockingly bad. Completely off topic. I just want to say that Mr. Freeze's car, if you can call it a car, with the spikes in the front, carries some real like Despicable Me energy.
I thought that too.
Yeah, I thought it only last night. I went, bro, he's channeling his inner Despicable Me right now. All right, he's got some.
Oh yes. No, we haven't mentioned the Bat credit card.
Oh, here we go. Mate, just the scene of the apes beforehand and the weird dancing and music and the neon lights. It was like Joel Schumacher Unchained and really let loose to just do his, because there was hints of it in the last one, but this just kind of went off its head. You kind of see the same like neon gang members later, but their faces are completely like phosphorus green. Like Poison Ivy's trying to take over the place. I can't remember what the name was of it, but you know what I mean. So yeah, just the gorillas alone was weird, and then they're all gambling over Poison Ivy, She's got a special dust, which I kept laughing at. I don't know why. Watching like guys smell it and then react is really funny to me.
Yeah, that was always a bit goofy.
Yeah, and so yeah, they start bidding on it, and
Also,
I legit find the scene funny now. You know, 4 million. I'll borrow it from you.
yeah, no,
I love how when Poison Ivy shows up, she just kind of declares herself the winner and just starts taking the jewels anyway, and everyone's just cool with it.
well, she's like brainwashed everyone at that point.
Maybe?
I think she did.
I think she did,
She,
yeah. She did too. Sorry.
mm.
It was hard to watch this movie with a super critical eye when it was like
Also,
my 50th
yeah,
viewing.
no, I do have a major critique of the film now because I just found out that the action figures did come separately.
Yep, nah. Let's throw this movie down the trash can, man.
Yeah, right.
It's
There
over.
goes all my goodwill for this film.
Yeah, its credibility gone. That's sad, man. So Batman whips out the Bat credit card. That's not the most 60s Batman thing I've ever seen in one of these Batman
Has
movies.
the ching sound effect
Yeah,
when he pulls it out.
ching. There's so even that when Mr. Freeze shows up there and he starts like that Batman and Robin are fighting people, you've got all of the 60s like bam, pow, and wham sound effects. Like as many crazy. It's like that. What's that whistle you really like? The one that goes all the way down and up.
Slide whistle.
Yeah. It's got like all the crazy wacky sounds as far as those can go, just like that. And I know that it was like Batman and Robin's plan to like set up a trap for Mr. Freeze. Like that was the idea behind them going to the gala to begin with. It wasn't about the botanical gardens, but the diamonds bait Mr. Freeze. Alright, so Batman and Robin know Mr. Freeze is coming, and no one else does. Now, if anyone gets hurt there, that's on them, because they knew and they're supposed to protect the people and stuff. Mr. Freeze shows up, it just starts freezing people left and right, and then, okay, maybe, Batman's gonna figure this out and thaw them like Robin, but he's like, no, Commissioner Gordon, you have 10 minutes to thaw these people out, and then just dips. He doesn't have anything. He's not like, Batman, can you give me one of those lasers?
Cigarette lighter.
Yeah, he didn't even give him a lighter. Imagine if he did. You have 10 minutes to thaw these people out.
Oh yeah, no, I wanted the scene when Mr. Freeze freezes Robin, and then he's like, "Oh, you've got 11 minutes to like pour him out, or you can chase him." I just would have thought it was so funny if Batman decided to chase him.
Man, I laugh at that scene for a whole nother reason.
I also laugh at it when he turns the fucking water red, and that doesn't kill him.
Yeah, so I know. It's so incredibly hot. When boiling water, bubbles and stuff. Imagine how hot it's going to be to turn red. No, wouldn't that be funny if that was just his blood? That's why it went red.
Yeah, he just melted.
That's the only thing that makes sense. Yeah, he just melts him. He's like, oh shit! All of a sudden, like a rib cage and like a skull start coming to the surface.
Just his bone.
Yeah, just bones and red. Like shit. No, I always laugh at like Robin saying, "I've got him." Lunges, and if he was never frozen, he was never going to tackle Mr. Freeze. He's like 3 meters away from where he needs to be, and he was just going to land on the floor before he gets frozen. And I laugh at that every time.
Mr. Freeze did him a favor.
That's right. He just like, I've got him, lunges, and then you can see him just about to hit the ground, and then he gets frozen. I love it. I don't know why, but that always stood out to me as well. Oh god. So I don't know why there's a chase on huge statues with muscles. Again, this is like, I don't know, Joel Schumacher's real fantasy. Maybe. And
was Joel Schumacher actually gay? You keep mentioning that.
I don't know. And I never thought it beforehand, but now revisiting Forever and this one, I thought maybe he he's got it out for the male body, you know? The suits have to be anatomically correct down to the nipples. He has to get close-up shots of the ass and the nipples. Why? That doesn't add anything. He's like, nah. Can you imagine him on the day? Like, yeah, nah, I want you to jump up and down in the trousers when you pull them on, and I want you to zoom in on that, alright? Really fast and hold it, you know? Can you imagine what those days were like?
It does sound a bit weird now that you mention it.
I don't know.
Actually,
There's nothing wrong with being gay.
Does Batgirl's suit have bat nipples?
No. But the
Weird.
logo does go around her boobs to really, really accentuate them. For whatever reason.
Why do the bat nipples exist? I'm so confused. There's literally no reason for
No,
that.
there's none. There's none at all. This time they were the full nip. Like, they were as predominant as possible.
Full on areola and nipple right there.
Yeah, man. Some ravioli. Some pepperoni nipples. God damn, it's shocking. I don't know why those decisions are made. I think those have to be on Joel Schumacher's part, because, you know, selling toys has nothing to do with that design.
If there was a fifth movie, there would have been, instead of the bat nipples, we would have gotten the bat cock veins.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Just full on.
Yeah.
Full on cod pieces. Much like the hero codpiece.
Of course. He actually, I don't really want to spoil it, but I might have to. I won't give you any details.
Oh yeah, he was in like a cartoon or something.
Yeah, he appears in season 3 of the Harley Quinn show, which is beautiful.
You're telling me I have to watch 3 seasons of a show?
Oh, each season is brilliant. It's beautiful. It's poetry in motion, that show. It's just crazy.
You have mentioned it a lot.
I know, and I really need to hammer home the point that this is not just some, like, Harley Quinn show for 16-year-old girls that feel kind of edgy and they want to see a spin on the character. This is, like, amazing as far as, like, DC creating any sort of animated show that's so self-referential. Like, it's like how Invincible doesn't look like it's much of a cartoon until you see it and you go, holy shit, this is heavy. Well, replace heavy with funny. That's Harley Quinn. You're like, holy shit, I'm watching Tom Kenny, who voices SpongeBob, voice Clayface's hand that's been, like, decapitated, so it's just his hand that's sentient, holding a conversation with Commissioner Gordon about how his wife refuses to touch him even though he treats her like a queen. You're like, what the fuck?
Speaking of Commissioner, did they change the actor for Commissioner Gordon again?
No. So I did say it in... I said it in the very first podcast. The only 2 actors to reprise their roles throughout the entire franchise were the actors playing Commissioner Gordon and Alfred. Now, if you can't tell by, like, the 7 or 8 times that it lingers on Alfred, looking down, almost crying, that he's sick and dying, I don't know what else can tell you that he's sick and dying before the film is telling you.
Sick of this film and dying to get it over with.
That's what I thought, for sure. I thought that's what was actually killing him, because they say what he's got is, like, McGregor's syndrome. Yeah, and I forgot all about that. I forgot all about it, so I'm laughing my ass off thinking of Conor McGregor for whatever reason. Like, oh, he's got McGregor's syndrome. He's done. He's fucked. I don't know why they came up with McGregor's syndrome. It's not a real thing. I looked it up. God, no, it's not real at all. God, what else? There's so much stuff. It feels almost impossible to cover it all. So yeah, Bane was basically screwed in this movie. A very great comic book writer, Chuck Dixon, he subjectively, like, kind of said that Bane is the strongest and most intelligent foe that Batman's ever faced, and he's strong but intelligent. Not in this movie. He got stiffed pretty bad. You know, the scene where he's walking around at the end just saying, "Bomb, Bomb. Every time he puts a bomb
Well, he
down.
was right. They were bombs. That's how clever he is.
Oh, such a good defense, man. The rebuttal there. You know what? He's intelligent as hell. I take it back. What are some other
Name
beautiful?
one point in this film where he said something that wasn't accurate and true.
Shit.
You can't.
Um,
He's the smartest character in the movie.
yeah, you just always stating the obvious. You know, what if there's a blind person watching the movie? You know, Bane's there. He's got you covered. Bomb.
Yeah.
Oh God. Now what I thought was interesting is Arnold being cast. He's in the background of Batman Returns. In Max Schreck's office, there's a huge like picture of Arnold
Of him as Victor Freeze?
as himself, Arnold Schwarzenegger.
Oh.
Yeah.
Like with his name on it?
I don't know. I think it's a photograph. I might be mistaken. I know that Arnold's in it though. So there's a good reason to go back and watch Batman Returns just to see where the hell he is. But Arnold was one of the only people that seemingly didn't really regret doing this movie.
Yeah, he was great in it.
Well, it's because he was paid $25 million, which at the time was the biggest ever salary for a movie star. He later beat his own record when he was paid $30 million for doing Terminator 3. My gosh, though.
Ah, yes.
Yeah.
Terminator movies stopped being as good.
The Terminator franchise is screwed. I'm willing to talk about that for 2 minutes if you'll let me.
Terminator peaked with 2, right?
Yeah.
I think anybody would agree.
Yeah, 1 was great. Then 2 flipped everything on its head and became one of the best action movies I've ever seen. Then there was 3 and Salvation and all these other ones. And then it got to a point where they said, okay, everything that happened...
Bale's in one of them, isn't he?
Yes. Yes, he is. It might be worth going back and checking out because I haven't seen it in a very, very long time. But the franchise got to a point where they said, okay, everything that happened after 2 and up until this one never happened. This is the actual 3rd movie. And they've done that 3 times now, I think. Okay, that last movie we just made 2 years ago, it never happened. We're rebooting it. This is the real 3rd Terminator. See, we've got James Cameron here, and he's saying that's true. Oh God, it was horrid.
I don't remember. I don't know which movie it's from, but I saw a clip somewhere of the lady who plays Sarah Connor. It's in one of the new ones because she's really old.
Yeah.
Telling another lady that it's like, oh, they don't want you for who you are. It's just the like man child and that you're going to have. And it's like a really weird line like that. It's like a feminism angle, I guess.
I'm not too sure because I am not refreshed on the recent Terminator movies. I just go back and I watch 2 all the time.
2 is good, yeah.
Yeah.
That scene where he turns into the floor goes hard.
It does. Just so everyone knows, don't ever buy Terminator 2 on 4K. That's just...
Oh, I know.
Us as Blu-ray and 4K movie enthusiasts know as like lore. Like how people know that Batman and Robin is not a great Batman movie. We have to spread the word about Terminator 2's.
2 on 4K.
So it's 4K transfer. They went over and they completely messed with the movie. James Cameron wasn't there. Or like
is that like how you said the Quentin Tarantino ones are always like,
yeah, pretty much. Like James Cameron's not there. They completely colorized the whole thing so it's got a very teal look to it. And then I don't know what they did, but they made all the characters look like they're made out of wax. It just looks like ass. Just for people that care and somehow are watching this and want to know, don't ever buy that on 4K. It's having a really hard time selling. It has for years because it's not good and we're spreading the word. Anyway, back to Batman and Robin. Yeah, Arnold was paid shitloads. It was another instance.
Was that like proportionately massive compared to the other people? Or did the other actors make a lot of money too?
Other people made money as well, to some degree. The movie all up, I do have its gross here. Where was it? Where is it? The movie worldwide earned a total of 238 million.
Oh, that's pretty good. Actually, didn't you say like Jack Nicholson got a fuck ton
Yes.
from?
I was gonna say this is the one other instance where in a Batman movie the actor playing the villain was paid more than the hero. You know, Michael Keaton, and here George Clooney. I don't know exactly how much George was paid. I know it was nowhere near as much. I really love the way that George Clooney goes about this movie. I don't know if you've heard anything that he's ever had to say about it. But he's been known, like, if you go up to Hollywood,
Jack. Yeah, sorry, Jack Nicholson actually made a lot more money than Arnold did.
Oh yeah, well he got the
90 million.
Yeah,
Because he got the.
Yeah, you know that little contract loop of like, I get a certain
I
amount
actually,
of the films.
looking it up, I found out that that's actually something Nicholson fought for to get that.
Yeah, he did.
He was smart.
Yeah, he was onto it. That's why he agreed to do it if he could have like a certain percentage of the film's total revenue, and it was a good move.
Yeah.
But if you get in a plane right now and you fly to Hollywood, and you down the Hollywood Hall of Fame or Walk of Fame, I can't remember what it's called, the fucking stars and the stupid sidewalk, and you run into George Clooney and you say, "Hey George, I watched Batman and Robin. He has been known to give people full refunds for whoever has seen this movie." So you could probably get $16 off him or something.
Ah, brilliant.
Dude, money-making schemes at their finest.
I'm just gonna approach George Clooney in a set of disguises.
Yeah, one after another. You're gonna make bank, fat bank.
$16 every 25 seconds.
Yeah,
Easy
no,
money. I just go around the corner, I put on a fake mustache, and I come back around.
Yeah, you come up to him normally, get you $16, then you just come around the corner, you same clothes head to toe, but just with a mustache this time. Hey, I also seen Batman and Robin. Can I have $16? 16 buckaroos? Trying to put, then you come, one outfit after another. I was telling you, this is the way. But he has been known to refund people that have seen the movie. He's publicly apologized for being the man that's ruined Batman. He's called the film a complete waste of money. He has later said...
Why is he so hard on it?
He knew how bad it was from the start.
Why wasn't he in it? Or why was he in it then?
I can't remember why he said yes. I think it was because, you're getting the chance to play Batman. And he was like, yeah, I'll do it. And then got in on the movie and realized, oh my god, we're making a huge, expensive cartoon. What have I done? But he has later since gone on to say that it was like the biggest break he ever had. Because it actually got him back in like Hollywood's limelight, resulting in getting him some more successful roles later on.
But did this movie have commercial success?
No. It was hated by everybody, fans and critics alike. This is not.
I guess you could say
anyone.
It had a cold reception.
An icy one at that. Oh god.
So,
yeah, George is.
Actually, I just wanted to mention something really weird.
Yeah.
Just to break the train of thought. Why is that just that random woman hanging out in Mr. Freeze's lair?
I don't know. He's very dedicated to his missus. I have no idea why she's there.
Because he's not really interested in her at all.
No. You know what? That's as stupid as Bruce Wayne having another love interest in this movie. That was a
Yeah.
complete waste of time. I think she only has like 2 scenes. Like he even has dinner with her, and he's dreaming about poison ivy as you do, and like we have seen this arc 4 times already of him trying to be with someone, but they eventually learn his secret, and then they can't stay with him. His best shot was with Selena because she's just as messed up and dresses up as well. All right, why this man keeps trying, I have no idea. It just felt like a colossal waste of time.
Well, I mean, Selena Kyle was trying to kill him.
I suppose so.
Normally a deal breaker.
Yeah, it's sometimes I roll with it. Like she's coming at me with a knife, and I'm like, darling, put it down. We don't need to do this. Huge turn on, man. Anyway.
Different strokes for different folks.
Yeah, I just for people that aren't aware, I'm using sarcasm. If it wasn't blatantly obvious, I no, please no knife play. So yeah, George, he apologizes for it all the time, being the man that ruined Batman.
What about person who plays Robin?
Chris O'Donnell. I think he enjoyed his time. He liked doing the first one or Forever because it felt like he was making a movie, but this second one definitely was a step down for him, at least. Like he felt like, again, he was making a huge cartoon. And the costumes were worse. I know that like they had to glue his mask onto his face, and he would sweat in his eyes more, and like.
Always wondered how those masks are supposed to stay on.
Yeah, apparently it was glued on for this time round. I'd still rather that than putting on the entire cowl and everything for Batman. Apparently the suits were heavy as well. No one enjoyed wearing their costumes. Arnold thought the Mr. Freeze outfit was suffocating.
That's ironic.
Batgirl had a huge controversy with her costume.
How so?
At the time, she had put on a few pounds and all of a sudden couldn't fit into the costume anymore. And this got out into tabloids and reporters and stuff. And this poor woman, I want to say poor woman, but she made the movie The Requin that I reviewed, and that's not a good movie at all.
I don't know what that movie is.
Yeah, no, it's
watch that one.
Yeah, don't ever watch that movie, buddy.
What's that about?
I've got a review on it if you want to see it. It's the lowest graded movie I've ever reviewed.
Alright, then I'll keep that in mind.
Yeah, The
What's
Requin.
the actress's name again?
Alicia Silverstone.
Yeah. I was looking at the poster like 5 minutes ago. I should have remembered
that. Yeah, it got out that she'd put on a few pounds, and people were just bullying the fuck out of her and fat shaming her and shit. Like we all haven't put on weight at some point or another. And
I am sculpted like Michelangelo's David. I'm the perfect man.
I like the idea that no one would be able to tell, but our pictures are in the bottom corner of the screen right now. We can clearly see you, clear as day. Just a normal shirt with some sunnies. Michelangelo's David. This is going to be really funny to listen back to and just look at that. But yeah, she was getting fat shamed. It was a horrible situation. Like, it got way out of hand. Like, Joel Schumacher had to defend her and everything. So yeah, everyone had problems with their costumes at some point. Apparently they were lighter this time around. They tried a different material, but it also made them very prone to ripping. I know Clooney and his stunt double went through about 50 different bat suits because they just kept breaking. Apparently it took Chris O'Donnell like 4 or 5 hours. I think it was 4 hours alone to just get in the costume, which is mind-blowingly long. Yeah, no one had a fun time. But, George Clooney, instead of, going through the effort of trying to take it all off again once he was in it, he would just go and visit his friends on the set of ER, 1994. And he'd just go there in full costume, as you would if you're Batman. I mean, I would. I'd definitely do it.
That sounds like the stories of the people who play like Jason Voorhees just going around in costume having
Yeah.
fun.
I don't know what I'd do if I see George Clooney in that bat costume. I'd freak out. I'd just cower. He lets guys just freeze them and leaves them to die. Those people were dead. Anyway, at the end of the filming, George Clooney apparently said, and I quote, "I think we just killed the series." Right when filming was done.
I like to imagine that was like at the end of like GTA 5 when after they push the car off and they're all like on the
Yeah,
beach or whatever. I like to imagine it was like that where they're all
yeah,
like congratulating each other.
yeah. The whole telescope thing like falls through the building and shit, and he's standing there with Robin and Batgirl just looking down like, "Yep, I think we did it, guys. I think we just killed this series." That's definitely what happened. Um, I think the only person that didn't hate the costumes and what they had to do was Uma Thurman.
She's barely wearing a costume.
Yeah, she openly was very aware of the campy and like farcical tone of the film, and just went with it instead of trying to do something kind of serious. She enjoyed like the creative liberties she was given in regards to her character. Like she can.
This is a one-woman show.
Yeah, she could kind of just do whatever the hell she wanted, and I think she was enjoying like the flamboyancy of all of it for a bit. Changing wardrobe every scene into something extravagant. But yeah, I think she enjoyed her time. She was one of the few. It's the first Batman movie to not be the highest grossing movie of the summer in which it was released. So, good on this movie. I got a little funny story. I don't know the details of this story, but we can make up details.
Kind of story.
So there were two extras on the set of this movie. They were arrested and they were fired short after for attempting to sell secretly shot footage of Batman and Robin. Imagine being arrested for trying to leak Batman and Robin footage in 1997.
Are they still in prison?
I have no idea. I wouldn't think so. But
they got 20 to life.
Yeah, was it worth it, guys? Was it worth it? All right, there's so many better Batman movies that have come out since, and this is the route you went. Come on, we can do better.
One of them's on death row.
Jesus. Are you guilty of trying to sell Batman and Robin screenshots? Yes, Your Honor. The electric chair. So yes, Bane's a bit of a brick in this movie, and he's a wrestler first and foremost, named Jeep Swenson, and he died only 2 months after the film's release, which
what a way to go out.
In a blaze of glory and bomb. And unfortunately, that's not the only depressing news. It gets worse. This was the last Batman movie that Bob Kane ever seen of Batman. He died 1 year after this film was released. So
what did he think of it?
He hated it. I think he was in Batman Forever. He made like a tiny cameo, and even then he was like, "Why are you putting bat nipples on the Batman costume? What are you doing?"
I thought Batman Forever didn't have the bat.
It had them, but they were just like tiny little circles. There was a hint of nip there, but no, we get the full like double rim protruding treatment.
Yeah. It's such a weird choice. I cannot wrap my head around.
I don't understand how anyone thought it was. Like, even if you're trying to sell toys, it'd be easier to not have to put that detail in. So it makes no sense to me.
It's like, what toy? Some kids like, this Batman toy without nipples? I don't want anything to do with this.
Yeah.
This one, I will buy this. I will make my parents spend money on it.
Film
Because
authentic.
Batman
I must
has a
have it.
nipple. Yeah.
So, imagine you're Bob Kane, you've created Batman, you got to see Batman 89 and how cool it was to realize that. And you die a year after this movie comes out thinking that it was all over. This is the legacy of your character and it just never came back or did anything ever again. That is sad to me. The man had never experienced the Dark Knight trilogy and all the other amazing things to
Well,
come.
kind of never did get any better.
What are you talking about? We're about to have a fight, man. If you're about to tell me that the Dark Knight is not better than Batman and Robin, we're gonna throw hands. All right.
Oh yeah, Robin's in the Dark Knight trilogy, isn't he?
Yes, loosely. We don't really get Robin, but we get a guy that's supposed to become Robin, and to leave it on an optimistic note, I suppose. Speaking of Robin, it was Chris O'Donnell who reported, I think it was in 2012, he confirmed that like a Robin / like Nightwing spin-off was planned. Robin later becomes the character Nightwing. Yeah, you didn't know that already. Alongside a Batman Unchained movie, a 5th installment. But it was scrapped after the poor reception of Batman and Robin. Now, this 5th movie, right, is one of the most amazing, beautiful things I've ever heard of, like, and read. The 2 different directions that they were going to go. And I don't know if I told you some of this stuff already, but for this 5th film...
You have. If you have, I don't remember, so let's go over it again.
Yeah. So for a 5th film, Batman Unchained, it was to be a direct sequel and have George Clooney and Chris O'Donnell reprising their roles. There were no plans to have Alicia Silverstone return as Batgirl, so you set her up just to not have her there. I don't understand. Scarecrow and Harley Quinn would have been the villains for the movie, with cameos from past villains appearing as hallucinations due to Scarecrow's fear gas. So,
oh, you have mentioned this,
yeah, so Jack Nicholson was to return, Danny DeVito, Jim Carrey's Riddler, Tommy Lee Jones' Two-Face, everybody as hallucinations.
I noticed the Riddler's and Two-Face's costumes were in the police evidence block.
Yes, I think Catwoman's whip's there as well, and it might be one of Joker's like punching glove guns or something. There's a whole lot of hidden stuff there, which I thought was real cool. That harkens back to how Joel Schumacher is a Batman fan at heart. Like, he knows his characters in a way that Tim Burton doesn't. Not that it helped much with the final product, but even at the start, he's like, this is why Superman works alone with George Clooney. He understands the world that these characters are in.
He just doesn't understand like filmmaking.
He does. He wanted to go back to darker roots again. Each one of these, he wanted to make a genuine movie, but a lot of this was the studio being in complete control. What's a good example of this kind of thing happening in Hollywood already?
Spider-Man 3, right?
Kinda. That is a studio pushing around a director and kind of saying, we want this, we want that. But Joel Schumacher was more the, I don't want to say spineless, but like Tim Burton was clashing ideas with the studio. So they said, no, we don't want someone that fights what we say. We just want someone to do what we ask and what we say. And Joel Schumacher was the guy that said, I'm not really keen on this, but if you're telling me this is what I have to do and it's my job, I guess I am doing it. Bat nipples it is. I actually have no idea who's responsible for the bat nipples. I still don't know, and I don't know if I care enough to know. But yet, Scarecrow was to be the villain in this 5th movie, and there was 2 people up for this role. One, you might notice that Coolio is in this movie. Coolio from Gangster's Paradise.
Yeah, no, I know the one.
Yeah, he's there at in the scene just before Batgirl and Robin like get on the bikes and stuff and have that whole like bike chase thing. Kind of in the middle of the film. They're not in like costume. It's when Robin's trying to bust Batgirl, like why she's sneaking out, what's she actually up to.
No, I just found him on IMDb. Coolio.
Yeah, Coolio's there in that scene, and he was supposed to be a plant, like planting the seed for him playing Scarecrow in the 5th film.
Surprised they didn't make him Mr. Freeze.
He's pretty cool, isn't he?
Yeah.
But I love the other casting choice. The other casting choice that I heard, and I love this to death, and I probably told you already, but I don't care. Nicolas Cage as Scarecrow.
Yes, you have told me this.
Like, now that you've seen Batman and Robin, and you see the style that it was, and you know that, like, it probably was going to get worse, and we would have seen all the other villains as well, kind of being, like, puppeted by Nicolas Cage. And, you know, like, they're flamboyant as hell with their costumes. Like, he would be full Scarecrow with the hat and, like, everything. I wouldn't surprise me if they had just straw sticking out of his neck everywhere. Like, and, you know, you're in the late 90s. You would have been, like, prime Nicolas Cage going off his head, off the wall crazy. Despite the reception, I really want to see that 5th movie. I really want to see it. And it's interesting.
That sounds like it would have been pretty good.
There was an idea to do like a Batman Superman movie at the time, and they wanted Nicolas Cage for Superman as well. That got much further into development before it was canned, but that was going to at least have like Tim Burton as a producer. They wanted to make a Batman and Robin thing really work. Bit unrelated, but that was another idea. I wish I could see Batman Unchained, because it really sounds like the movie would have been Unchained. I don't know who they would have gone with for Harley Quinn or how they would have fit that into the film, but apparently Joel Schumacher wanted to take this whole thing back to its darker roots, as well with the Robin and Nightwing like spin-off thing. But after the universally negative reception, both the sequels were canned. I even have a quote here from Kevin Feige, back on the topic of how this kind of changed the way that these movies were made. He is here and is quoted as saying that this is the most important comic book movie ever made because of its catastrophic failure. It forced major comic book companies and film studios to rethink how they presented these movies. You know, in hindsight, it doesn't seem that bad, but at the time, you know, it was to be genuinely taken seriously. I feel like as an audience member, yeah, I would be pretty pissed off that they think that little of, you know, the audience. You know, I can't imagine hearing the Poison Ivy action figure line in the theater. So in terms of casting for Mr. Freeze, how Arnold came to be, I might have talked about this with you before, but again, I'll reiterate it. You know, there's other people that have coming into this and listening to these that aren't general listeners to all 30 podcasts at this point. There's a heated, like, feud between Arnold and Sylvester Stallone, right? Through this kind of period of films and even like a decade beforehand. Have I told you about this before?
No, not really.
Well, you're gonna love it. So, both Arnold and Sly are kind of the same, right? They're both kind of foreign, moved to America, made it big.
Sly?
I think Sly, he is American, but like they've both got the accents on them that are so out there. I know Arnold's like Austrian, and you know, they're both like the same person, right? In the sense that they're not just that, they're also extreme bodybuilders and trained to be like the best shape that anyone could ever be in Hollywood. And they both never talked to each other for the longest time, and it was like a contest of like, there can only be one. You know, I'm Rocky Balboa, I'm gonna be the one. And then after the Rocky movies were made, Arnold's response was like,
Predator.
yeah, things like Predator, and
Predator
so
is awesome.
yeah, Predator's great. And then Sly Stallone's response is, "I'm gonna make Rambo. I'm gonna make the ultimate like killing machine in the forest jungle. You think you're good? I'm better." And then Arnold's like, "All right, I'm making the movie Commando. We're gonna just keep trying to top each other and not stop." It got to a point where they were deliberately baiting each other into doing shitty movies. It was so funny. Like, I think the Jingle All the Way movie might be one instance where, maybe, no, it was a different one. It was something...
Yeah, no, that movie's awesome. It can't be that
one. There was a different movie. It was really bad. I can't remember the name of it. But Sly Stallone was approached with this role, and he's like, "Oh, this doesn't seem very good." And it was somehow set up where someone would say, "Yeah, but Arnold's gonna do it," and he's like, "Nah, I won't let him do it. I'll take it." So he did a really bad movie, and later found out that Arnold deliberately set someone up to say that just so he could do a really bad movie that Arnold was never going to take. They were really playing around with each other. And this went on for decades and decades. And this is another instance where, Arnold wasn't really sure if he wanted to do this. And Joel Schumacher's like, "Well, my second choice was be Sly Stallone." And Arnold's like, "I'll do it." And his third choice was going to be Hulk Hogan, which I think is really interesting. How crazy that would have been. "Come here, brother. I'm gonna freeze you." It's even funnier when I do it out
the
loud.
ice puns in his voice.
All right. Everybody needs to chill. I can't do it. I'm gonna fit the word brother in there somehow. "I'll freeze these cups like popsicle sticks, brother." Everybody chill. Oh god. Yeah. No matter what, we were gonna get a character that was out there for Mr. Freeze with all three of them. It really upsets me at the end of the day because they tried to take a lot of inspiration from the episode Heart of Ice from that animated series I mentioned that came out in 1992. And that episode won an Emmy. For a kids show, it won an Emmy. It was that good. And I'd love to look at it sometime. But they took that as a lot of inspiration, apparently. None of that really came through other than the subplot of "I've got the dying wife." And what they, inadvertently did was just ruin this character in terms of live action. Matt Reeves, I think, at the moment is fighting to try and get Mr. Freeze in this new Batman movie, or the sequel. I'm not sure if that's who they're gonna settle on, but it sucks because this is a really, really good character, despite what you've just seen. And that's another reason I really don't like this movie. They really tarnished that. Some other poor direction that this movie got. Apparently, Joel Schumacher, according to him, sorry. Oh, God, I'm getting myself mixed up. I'm thinking about how good Heart of Ice is now. According to Joel Schumacher, George Clooney, he brought to the character a less tortured and obsessed Batman, which I think is even worse. Like, that's the opposite of what they should be trying to do.
He was just like, yeah, it's just like the day job.
Yeah, it's not the point.
Go home, you don't think about it anymore.
That's right. There was a making of documentary about this movie. There's been so many things. I think at one point there was something known as like the Batman curse, where like if you were involved in this movie and somehow your career would just eventually become destroyed. I know Chris O'Donnell kind of went down after this. I don't think Alicia Silverstone did too much following this. I mean, I know she did the Requin, but we don't talk about that. The only two people that really survived were Arnold and George Clooney in terms of like a career. Unfortunately. But some of the documentaries are pretty interesting. There was at one point, Chris O'Donnell, he said he didn't film any scenes with Arnold. He was there, like, regarding the scenes that he was there with Mr. Freeze, but he always had a double in for him doing stunt double stuff. I've got the quote here. He says, "I was in a lot of scenes with Mr. Freeze, but I didn't work a single day with Arnold. Not a single day." And he was very upset about that. You know, you hear that you're going to work with Arnold. I don't know how the hell that happens. How does that happen? Like, we've just seen the movie. How does Chris O'Donnell on that set never see Mr. Freeze? Like, or Arnold. Never met him, never got to nothing.
There are multiple times where they're in the same scene.
I know.
That's not possible. What the fuck? How is that?
That's just how, like, janky and chopped up and green screeny. I know that's not a word, but like how digitally done this movie is.
Right. That can't be right.
Apparently so.
True. Nice.
I'm just going off what Chris said, and he said that he was in a lot of scenes with Mr. Freeze, but he didn't get to work a day with Arnold. You know, his stunt double was always used whenever there had to be a scene with Arnold or something like that. You know, and I kind of get it. Like, when you think of the very, very end, you're only seeing Batman talk to Mr. Freeze after he's been, like, knocked down. You know.
But at the start, like, that whole scene at the museum, like, Robin's there, so surely Chris O'Donnell was also there.
I suppose, but those might have all been filmed on a separate day from the Mr. Freeze stuff. It feels like this is as much of a butchered project as, like, me when I made the Dark Knight video. Like, I filmed every single, like, 2-second shot independent of a different day.
20 minutes.
Yeah, they took like 20 minutes of waiting for the in-game day cycle to roll around. If you're here still and you're listening to us talk about Batman, feel free to check that out. That's just punch Nitro Spaz into the search bar up the top and you should get it. And I've recreated the opening scene from The Dark Knight in Grand Theft Auto. I did it quite a while ago, but we did that. We did that. And yeah, it's decent as hell. Go check it out if you're watching this still or after this.
Like, the most viewed thing we've ever made on either of your channels by like a long shot.
Not by too long a shot. I know our podcast on Jaws 2. That's
Jaws
on
2 one might be close, but it's like the Batman one cracked like 100K.
Yeah, it did. Small steps for me, man. Baby steps. I'm getting there. Just give me time. I got some really cool stuff down the pipeline planned. I'm gonna switch it up soon. Just it'll be a little less, but more effort into making stuff that's really substantial, stuff that lasts. Anyway, back on Batman and Robin because I have to keep talking about this movie. Oh my god, I just don't want to talk about this movie anymore. That is the Batman anthology. You've now seen it. I think I should have started off this podcast with just apologizing to you. I'm sorry you've seen Batman and Robin. At least you kind of enjoyed it. You got something to take away from this experience.
And I thought it was pretty fun.
You know,
got the popcorn. I sat down. I enjoyed myself.
Well, I thought covering a series like this, we would really ride the highs and lows of this franchise. You'd start with Batman 89, what a great movie to talk about. And then Batman Returns, which is considered good, but not as good as the first. I don't know, I kind of flip-flop. I kind of like how it gets even darker and grittier. You know, Penguin spewing blood from his mouth and biting noses. Talking about French flipper tricks and stuff. And then Batman Forever's it's just in that perfect middle ground between Batman and Robin and Batman Returns of like what's happening here. It's strange. And then obviously we have this travesty to talk about. Oh, Batman and Robin. What else is there? They've got so many different costumes, so many different vehicles. Again, everything. It was all about making money and selling toys. Yeah, just checking the notes, making sure I haven't forgotten much. There's definitely stuff I'm gonna be forgetting. I know that on like the making of documentary for the DVD for this movie, Joel Schumacher like publicly apologizes if he's disappointed people, which I feel like that's a tad too far. Like it's, I don't know how to explain it. Like you dedicate 2 years or so of your life, making this because you creatively really enjoy it and you're passionate about it and you think bat nipples are the way to go. And although a lot of people don't like it, you should never have to apologize for like your vision and what you thought would be a good idea.
I'm reminded of I don't remember what game it was, but there was this time when a whole bunch of Japanese developers got up on stage, like all the developers, like publicly apologized for it.
Yeah.
It looks like a Final Fantasy something. I don't remember.
I'd have no idea, but I know there's something similar here.
Yeah.
I even have the quote here. He said, "If there's anyone that's, let's say, loved Batman forever and went into Batman and Robin with great anticipation, if I disappointed them in any way, then I really want to apologize because it wasn't my intention. My intention was just to entertain them." Which is, it's kind of sad in retrospect. I know he's long passed away now, but even still, like, it wasn't his fault. Yeah, he wanted rubber nipples on the bat suit, but the studio's pressure on him to make the film more, like, centered around selling toys, it's not entirely his fault. There's a lot of people that go into making these movies, and I just want to not end this on a sour note, how most people would, saying, "Screw Joel Schumacher, thanks for everything." It's not that bad. I laughed at a lot of stupid things that happened in this. It wasn't entirely poison to my veins.
Yeah.
So what did you think of this whole Batman anthology?
I think it was.
Is it worth your time? Is it
good.
worth other people going and seeing?
Yeah,
or
I'd say all four of them are worth your time.
That's crazy. That's different. I wish Tim Burton got to make a third film. I really would have loved to have seen a third one with Michael Keaton and that style of Gotham. I feel like that's the biggest missed thing that we've gotten out of all these. I had someone ask the other week about, if I could see a new entry to a Batman film, if I could see another Dark Knight movie, if I could see the sequel to The Batman, which came out earlier this year, or see a sequel to like Batman Returns. Which one would I want to see? I'd want to see Michael Keaton, back in his prime, doing a third Batman movie with Tim Burton. I know that that style of Batman movie really has a sense of style all the way down to like Gotham City and the matte paintings and all that stuff, in a way that, the new Batman movies, they all feel like New York with just like a coat of paint on them, or Chicago, or something like that. I really like the Batman, but I feel like in retrospect it's a little bit too much like the Dark Knight trilogy. Like, in its look.
I've heard a lot of people praising how it portrays Gotham.
I like how it's, always nighttime and rainy and stuff like that, but it's not enough for me to really go, yeah, I really need to see, where this franchise goes.
A realistically shitty place. Much like how Gotham in The Joker is just a shitty place, but it's just like a normal place.
Yeah, I suppose so. I don't know.
It's
There's
kind of
something.
like Detroit.
Yeah, I yeah, my opinion on the Batman has just swayed so much. It started out as I thought this was really good, and then it turned into I really love this, and I'm just watching it over and over and over. I loved watching Batman punch the shit out of people in a club, and that kind of aesthetic throughout the whole thing, and how it's this different styled movie. It's almost 3 hours or something like that. But I've slowly started to think more on it that you know everything feels so close to being fresh, but it's not. Everything just feels a little too similar to like the Dark Knight. Is like this Batman's cool, but it doesn't feel like this is the definitive next generation of Batman. And we're gonna get 3 movies that are just so solid, and this is a Batman we're gonna look at like we look at Christian Bale's or Keaton's or something. It doesn't feel like it's there yet. Like their version of the Joker is like okay, I suppose. I don't really care to see it. I kind of almost feel exhausted with it a bit. Everything just feels a little less than it needs to be different. If that makes any sense at all to anyone out there. I don't know. I'm just spewing thoughts off the top of my head. Did you enjoy the Batman?
I thought it was pretty good. I only watched it the once.
I enjoyed it much more the second time around. The first time there's just so much, but when you've got that full picture in mind before you start it, and you know where the beats are and whether you're in the middle of the film, because when it's 3 hours, everything slowly starts to bleed together. It's like the first time I'm watching it, I'm thinking, where's the climax of this film? All of a sudden now Riddler's blowing up all the dams and water's flooding in and stuff. Like, oh god, I thought this movie had already ended. We've got a whole other obligatory climax to this film because there just has to be one.
Yeah, I thought the Riddler's plan at the end was very weird. It didn't seem consistent with what he
No, it was very. It's just little things like that kind of make
that's
this.
That's not a little thing.
Okay, it's big. Just choices like that make that movie feel a little not right. It's so close to being right. Like, there's no way I could get it better than what Matt Reeves did with it. But it's like Matt Reeves gets 9 out of 10 on he gets 90% of the picture of what this character should be and how to make a new and unique Batman movie. And there's just 10% that's missing that just feels a little, I don't know, like it's missing something. It's almost how I feel with Tom Holland's Spider-Man. Like the first time you see it, the movie's kind of fine or whatever, like Homecoming, but because I know the audience at that point had seen Uncle Ben die over and over and over and over and over, but when you suddenly take that element out of it, it does take away from this new portrayal of the character that you're seeing. It feels like that has happened with...
Yeah, it doesn't really feel like Tom Holland's Spider-Man cares all that much, or maybe we've never even had an Uncle Ben.
Yeah, and I just feel...
And I feel like that's actually a really important part of
yeah, well, without
character.
There's no... With great power comes great responsibility. You get the second one. I don't think you've seen the second one. He almost gets the entire bus full of kids that he's on with killed because he's being irresponsible with the technology and crap.
Classic.
It's like, what happened to the great power, great responsibility?
Well, he hasn't been told that yet, because he gets told that in the third one.
Oh, yes, I know. Finally, he gets his origin story just so they can end that trilogy. And it's like, all right, we're ready to go, but now it's over.
The scene where Aunt May says that was the most fucking cringeworthy shit ever. I was like, oh my goodness.
Yeah, it felt extremely forced, but my problem with that scene is I didn't feel anything. Like, I should, but I've been given nothing on this Aunt May. Like, nothing at all, other than, like, a couple quick scenes here and there, and now it's supposed to be this big... Like, don't get me wrong, Tom Holland is really sending it. He's giving it his all. He's proper, breaking down. And as a Spider-Man fan, I want to relate to him as a character and be there in that moment and feel what he's feeling. But I just just don't. I haven't really gotten to know this Aunt May other than everybody wants to bone her and that's it.
Yeah, that was pretty much all I was gonna say about her as well. But um, I guess the difference is like if they killed off, the actress's name is like Rosemary Davis from the Sam Raimi.
Yes, yeah.
That would have been devastating.
My heart could not take it. My heart could not take it.
That would actually be straight up traumatizing.
I know, you can't imagine someone that's so nice and frail like that, being moved at a fast speed or being cut in half. I don't like it. Anyway, we're talking about cutting actresses up that we love, but we don't want to do that anymore.
I'm just saying that's the difference between the two Aunt Mays.
Yeah.
Like hers is so much more fleshed out, the kind of person she is, the kind of upbringing Peter had.
Yeah.
How did we even get on
Spider-Man? I don't know. We better wrap this up pretty soon. So next week we could be talking about a movie that also has Uma Thurman in it. That's much, much better than this one. Or it is Spooktober, so we could talk about a couple horror movies or something just for the month. We'll see how we kind of feel with it. We'll try and surprise you next time around. See if you can guess what it is we'll talk about.
Right. I won't even know what we're talking about when the podcast starts.
Yeah, I have no idea.
To watch every movie before then.
Yeah, you'll have to watch every movie that exists beforehand just to be prepared. I will not tell you anything. And I will not help you out. You have to pay for all these movies. Everything. Anyway. Thank you everybody so much for coming and hanging out with us. I hope you enjoyed hearing us talk about Batman and Robin. Somehow, maybe. If you did. I'm not sure he's going to click on this one at all. It's Batman and Robin. However, people do love jumping on the hate train, and just bashing on it. But they're going to be sorely disappointed because we didn't bash the hell out of it. But anyway, if you want to hang around and see more videos or hear some more podcasts or anything like that, consider subscribing or liking the podcast. Should I say video podcast? I don't know. 31 videos in, I'm not sure what to say still. It doesn't matter. If you've made it all the way through to the end, you guys are a bloody legend. Thank you so much. And we will see you guys next time. Bye, guys.